Hello and welcome to this very special episode of Frankly Speaking. And joining me this morning is Mr. Piyush Goyal, Union Commerce Minister. And pleasure to have you. For you, it's a personal milestone day, centenary birth anniversary of your father. And I've seen the way your career has moved on the principles that were set up by your father. Congratulations to you, Mr. Piyush Goyal.
Thank you very much, Navika ji. I do remember with great fondness all that I've learned from my father, and truly a person, very simple, very humble human being who was always focused on doing good for all the people around him and for the country. But it's also very nice that I get this opportunity to congratulate you on the 20th anniversary of Times Now. Milestone year, I think, full of achievements for you personally, having spearheaded from the launch date until the celebration today. Wonderful journey, heartiest congratulations and best wishes for a glorious future.
Thank you very much for those very warm sentiments expressed. But Mr. Piyush Goyal, coming back to the business of politics, the mother of all deals has been signed by you. A deal that was in the negotiations for 20 long years. I mean, since we are talking about 20 years, 20 long years is how long the EU-India trade deal was being negotiated. Why did it not conclude before this? And have we really given in a lot of concessions, as the opposition says, just to make it happen?
First of all, one must look at the history of this deal. 2006, it was decided that we should engage with EU. 7, it was launched. And in 2013, they aborted this. And instead of pursuing and closing a deal with a developed economy like the European Union, the UPA, Congress-led UPA, for reasons really a mystery to the world, decided that India should enter into a free trade agreement with China. They aborted the EU deal, which would have been great for India, which would have given our labor-intensive sectors a huge boost, created lakhs of jobs, earned us billions of dollars of export revenue and foreign exchange every year, given our youth a bright and prosperous future. Instead of this, the Congress decided to join the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership negotiations, where effectively we were doing an FTA with China. The RCEP, which we were not even a part of originally. It was amongst different countries. We decided to throw ourselves under the bus. We already had an FTA with ASEAN countries. We already had an FTA with Japan and Korea. Australia, we were negotiating. We could have closed in 2013. New Zealand, the total trade was only $300 million bilateral. So effectively, RCEP was an FTA between China and India, which they were pursuing desperately to do. And when Prime Minister Narendra Modi talked to stakeholders, talked to business persons, understood the intricacies of that, he took the bold decision on 4th of November 2019 to walk out of RCEP. He said, we cannot join such a irrational, imbalanced deal. This is the difference between the Congress and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Congress throws us to deal with a country which doesn't believe in fair play, which is dumping its overcapacity production into other countries. It's now a well-known fact all over the world. And instead of doing a deal with the EU, which was good for India, good for Indian business, good for Indian youth, we were doing a deal with China. In fact, I think the opposition really needs to apologize. The Congress, the DMK, the UPA partners, they need to apologize to the nation for the lost opportunity, the lost dreams of millions of Indians and Indian families. And I personally believe the vested interests and the inability of Congress to take decisions.
What were the vested interests? You talk about vested interests.
Well,
Please
you have
elaborate
reported the biggest vested interest. We still don't know what was that MOU that was done between the Congress Party and the
You've been in government for
Communist
12
Party.
years almost now. You don't know?
It was between the Congress Party and the Communist Party. It was not a government MOU. It was a private transaction.
And your intelligence services cannot give you the information?
We don't go and pry into other parties' affairs.
Okay. And Congress ka haath China ke saath was a political statement that you've made.
Well, we didn't make any political statement. We picked it up from the media, which reported in great measure how they were cozying up to the Communist Party. And soon after that, we saw trade with China grow dramatically.
But the trade is growing even today, Mr. Piyush Goyal.
Navika ji, between 2004 and 14, the 10 years of the UPA government, India's trade deficit with China grew by 28 times. 2,800% growth in trade deficit in 10 years. It's unheard of in the globe. We have not heard this kind of things. Under us, we inherited a system where Indian manufacturing was totally broken. The Chinese goods had such a big presence in the Indian market. It takes time to revive and get Indian industry back on track. And with the growing prosperity and the growth of the Indian economy, it does take time. Despite all of that, the trade deficit between China and India under us has only doubled. Whereas under them, it increased 2,800%.
But it has doubled.
It's bound to happen till you are able to make alternate supplies and till you are able to wean out the people from the low-cost substandard goods, which we are trying to do with quality control orders. We are trying to do with encouraging consumers to reflect on high quality as a priority.
So are you saying, please correct me if I'm wrong, are we looking to reduce our ties, at least on the trade front with China, become more self-reliant, or are we not? What is the policy document? Because we've seen this hot and cold going up and down.
Please understand, self-reliance does not mean that everything will be made in-house and nothing can be imported. There will be areas, there will be items which we will need to import because the manufacturing cost or the advantages, there could be some advantages that other countries have over us, maybe scale of operation, maybe availability of raw material. So we are per se we are opening our economy to the world. We are not looking inward only. So we are going to look at international trade, both import and export. What we want is fair play. What we want is honest pricing. What we want with our trading partners is equal opportunity to import and export and have a win-win for both. And that is what we get with the EU deal. And we have had to compromise on nothing. It's a deal that protects the sensitivities of all our vulnerable sections of society. Farmers, fishermen, MSMEs, dairy, poultry, all are protected.
Steel, aluminium?
Sorry?
Steel and aluminium?
On steel, we get the most preferred position. Whereas without an FTA, we would have got only 950,000 tons of potential zero-duty exports to the EU. Now we are hoping to go upward of 25 lakh tons, which is almost 2.5 times. And they have given us confidence that they will ensure that we get a most preferred priority, even amongst all the other nations, in our export of steel to European Union.
Mr. Piyush Goyal, nothing really happens in isolation. And that was very evident when we heard the President of the European Council as well as the European Commission talk about how this trade deal upholds a rules-based international order. A statement was also made that this trade deal offers stability at a time when tariffs are being weaponized. We all know where the reference was being made. I want to ask you, please, for the common man of India, can you explain to us, is this a substitute for other deals that we may get into? Or did this deal hasten up because of the weaponization that's happening globally?
Well, I can assure you that when we started negotiating this deal, we announced that we will start discussions in 21 at the Porto summit of Indo-EU, where at that point of time, by coincidence, Mr. Antonio de Costa was the Prime Minister of Portugal, person of Indian origin. Mid-22, we launched negotiations. We've had 16, 17 rounds of negotiations through the last 3.5 years. It's been a long haul, a lot of negotiations, a lot of patient discussions, a lot of jostling for access, jostling for a better deal on both sides. And we have culminated that into a real powerful instrument, a win-win, which will help India in its growth journey, which will give us tremendous access, particularly in labor-oriented sectors, and which will make products for the common man cheaper for our consumers, where we do not have manufacturing capability and are otherwise also required to import. So it's truly a win-win partnership. I don't think any trade deal depends on other trade deals. Everyone stands on its own footing. As far as India is concerned, we negotiate a deal based on what is our national interest, what is good for our people, good for our businesses, good for our country's growth, and every deal will be looked upon from that lens.
Well, what you don't say is what is more important than what you are saying, because there is international messaging that is evident to everybody, and there are reactions. And
that
we
is
can't...
presumptuous.
Not presumptuous. I'll read out the American Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, has lambasted this deal and said that EU has prioritized its trade deal with India more than the war in Ukraine. Clearly, mirchi to lagi hai.
I don't know about the other countries or what other countries' reactions are. I know that as far as India is concerned, we believe our national interest is paramount. Prime Minister Narendra Modi recognizes that India, in its journey to become Viksit Bharat, a developed and prosperous nation by 2047, will have to engage with the rest of the world. We will necessarily have to look at bigger markets, markets in the developed world where our goods and services can play an increasing role. When you look at the context, European Union imports nearly $7 trillion worth of goods. We export 75 billion. So look at the potential that we have. Textiles alone, they import $253 billion worth of textiles. We export only 7 billion. For so many years, you all have asked us this question. Why Bangladesh does 30 billion? Why Vietnam does so much? And why India is only 7 billion to European Union? That's because Bangladesh had zero duty, being a LDC. Vietnam had zero duty, having had an FTA with EU. We didn't have this FTA. If the Congress had done this FTA 20 years ago, our textiles today would have been exporting 50 billion more than Bangladesh to the European Union. And imagine the millions of jobs that would have been created. So I actually think they're squarely responsible. The Congress Party, the DMK, the Samajwadi Party, there's a whole bunch of UPA or now India-Alliance or whatever, they keep changing their name. They are solely responsible for the problems that our textile industry is facing.
But you don't seem to have impressed Mr. Jairam Ramesh at all. I've seen the Twitterverse to and fro between both of you.
If I were to impress Jairam Ramesh, then I would be worried about my own deal. The fact that he's criticizing it is solace to me, because the person who's responsible for killing development in India, the person under whose charge India's growth journey and story was totally ruined.
Are you individually saying Jairam Ramesh, or are you saying the Congress Party?
Well, it's the individuals make up the collective whole. They're collectively responsible, he's individually responsible. I mean, look at the way environment approvals are all stuck during his charge. Look at the messy way in which he's been He did the Andhra Pradesh bifurcation. Atalji also did bifurcation of 3 states. How smoothly, how well that ran. And I think, it's truly a case of sour grapes. Their inability to do anything and their ability to take the country from 8% growth to 4% growth, inflation from 4% to double digit, that was their ability. That was their USP. Our USP is taking the country back from the low pit that UP had left us to the world's fastest growing economy. And I'll just remind you, Mr. P. Chidambaram, in his 2014 interim budget, had made a loud proclamation. We were the 11th largest economy at that time. He said in 30 years, India will become the 3rd largest economy. That means 2044 was the UPA target. And here in next 2 years, we will be the world's 3rd largest economy under Prime Minister Modi. That is the difference between action, between good governance, between a vision for India, between concern for 140 crore Indians, versus a Congress government of corruption, scandals, lethargy, inability to take decisions, and leave everything hanging like they did with the EU deal.
Mr. Piyush Goyal, when the US Trade Representative Jamieson Greer also says that India is going to have a heyday with this deal and that the EU is doubling down on globalization at a time when the United States is trying to fix some problems associated with globalization in its own territory, clearly referring to immigration. Do you think that is a big issue that this EU-India FTA actually addresses? Immigration, export of our individuals.
Navika ji, this visit of Her Excellency Ms. Ursula von der Leyen and His Excellency Mr. De Costa is historic. What Prime Minister Modi has done in this visit is elevate this relationship to unparalleled heights. It's had comprehensive elements, our strategic partnership in defense, the Reserve Bank of India tie-up with the Central Bank of European Union, the fact that the mobility partnership was agreed upon, opening up doors to legal immigration, which European Union desperately needs. And they said it in the press conference.
True.
Rather than the illegal immigration that has flooded Europe in the last decade or so, they need the talent, they need the skills which India has to offer. They need our young men and women of substance, helping to revive the European economy growth story and journey. So effectively, this deal provides for both geographies, India and the 27-nation European Union, a fillip to their journey of growth, a fillip towards prosperity for their people, a fillip for the shared bright future for 1/3 of humanity. And I think it's a very balanced deal which gives positive vibes and positive energy to both economies, a deal which you will not find any fault with, very balanced, good for both, and equitable and fair in the interests of India, in the interests of the people of the European Union.
So let me ask you, you've spoken about EU's carbon border adjustment mechanism. And many industrialists as well as many experts in India feel that we will be at a disadvantage as far as our steel and aluminium exports are concerned. How would you dispel their fears? Because is there a guarantee that India will be exempted from the CBAM despite the FTA being worked out?
The carbon border adjustment mechanism is a tax that is equally put on their domestic production as well as their international procurement imports. So there's no discrimination, and therefore there's no question that one or the other can be exempted. What they do with CBAM will be equal. There'll be national treatment for their domestic manufacturers and their imports. But we have a forward, most favored nation clause in the FTA that should they give exemption or any concessions to anybody whatsoever, India will be benefited by that automatically. We also have discussed and decided that whatever carbon taxes are paid in India can be verified by verifiers who will be appointed in India or certified by European Union in India, reducing the cost of compliance. And credit will be given for that carbon tax. Also, I must share with you that European Union was very appreciative of India's own efforts and action towards addressing this problem of climate change, towards decarbonization, towards mitigation. We are amongst the top countries in the world in meeting the Paris commitments, the COP21 commitments, intended nationally determined contribution, INDCs. We are amongst the top 2 or 3 G20 countries also, but much better than many European countries. They recognize that, and they've in fact agreed to support us in our decarbonization effort, to help our industry become green, to help our economy in its journey towards greater renewable energy. And they've also, I think, already in this trip committed 500 million euro to support us in our climate activities, and agreed to, in the long run, look at much larger financing to support India in its journey of addressing climate change. So I think this is a very balanced view in which they are helping us to achieve the decarbonization targets, which will ultimately help us also safeguard against all the regulations that they have brought in. But all regulations are the sovereign right of each nation. We have our own regulations in India. Every nation provides for it.
We understand, but the worry that comes in is if our exports decrease, would we actually lose through the reduced exports of steel and aluminium and offset the gains made through this FTA? That's the worry.
Frankly, the labor-intensive sectors are the ones which are the biggest gainer of this FTA. We calculated that amongst the labor-intensive sectors like textile, apparel, home decor, leather, sportswear, footwear, non-leather footwear, toys, marine, agricultural products, amongst all of these, our current exports to European Union is about $35 billion. Out of that $35 billion, $33.5 billion will become zero duty on day one. Zero duty, as soon as it comes into effect later this year. Now, just look at the potential and the jobs that this can create. In terms of steel and aluminium, we won't lose out because what we will be required to pay would be what their domestic industry is required to pay, what anybody else who exports to European Union is required to pay. So we will not be discriminated negatively. We'll all be on equal footing. And we have an advantage because we are one of the lowest cost producer of steel products and aluminium. The world's most efficient steel plant is in India. And when I talk to them, they say in the next 3 or 4 years, we'll have a lower carbon footprint than even European companies. So we would actually be at an advantage because of CBAM. Their companies will be paying $80 or whatever, 80 euros per ton that the CBAM cost is estimated to be. And our Indian exporter will be paying zero. So on the contrary, we will end up having an advantage as far as CBAM goes. But in the overall scheme of things, when you prepare an FTA, you look at a balance and you look at what is going to happen without an FTA and what is going to happen with an FTA. And you see the benefits that an FTA gets you, and you find that, wow, this is a great deal. It provides huge opportunities for India. We've got to do it.
So we're also speaking on the eve of the union budget presentation tomorrow in Parliament. I want to ask you, was unemployment a major agenda behind some of the recent trade deals that you've been doing? EU is one, New Zealand, UK. You've done some 4 or 5 trade deals in the recent past.
8, 4 in the last 6 months, 7 months. But all 8 of them are with developed countries with whom we have no competition, where we complement each other. Australia, New Zealand, the 4-nation FTA bloc, their per capita incomes are as high as $200,000 per person. UK, the 27-nation European Union, Oman, and UAE. All 8 are with developed countries. All 8, we get huge boost for our labor-intensive producers. In all 8, we have balanced the deals in such a manner that India gets huge benefit. UK, we got the double contribution convention, which means for 3 years, whoever goes on a small short-term work visa, what they were earlier losing, 25% of their salary was going to the exchequer, will now go to their provident fund account in India and be their savings. With Australia, we saved the double tax on our IT exports, which will ultimately save us $1 billion a year. With New Zealand, we got a $20 billion investment commitment in FDI. And if they don't invest, I can claw back the benefits I have given. With the 4-nation FTA, we got $100 billion investment commitment in FDI, not to the stock market alone, but long-term sustainable money which helps manufacturing, innovation, research and development, tech companies, long-term funding. And by the way, this 100 billion, which means 9 lakh crores, will ultimately lead to an investment of nearly 50 lakh crores. 1 million jobs, 10 lakh direct jobs will mean 50 lakh jobs in the whole ecosystem. Hotels, dhabas, taxis, trucks, logistics, Indian investment, the whole ecosystem grows. Indian investors get an opportunity. Debt comes into place. So you have a huge potential to leverage the technological strength of Europe coming to India, manufacturing at scale both for the Indian market and for global markets, helping us reduce our dependence on foreign countries, reducing our foreign exchange outgo, earning us income here. It's a holistic vision with which we enter into each of these FTAs. These FTAs will help create large number of jobs, undoubtedly. But it's not that we are tackling an unemployment problem. What we are trying to do is upgrade the incomes and upgrade the kind of job that our people are doing. Unemployment is at one of its lowest levels ever in India.
Well, it was in 24 at 3.2. It's back to 4.9 or
but
so.
what we are trying to do is upgrade the job of our young men.
The toughest question I want to ask you, Piyush Goyal.
Sure.
How will you impress Mr. Rahul Gandhi? Will you be able to convince him? He thinks the economy is dead and he thinks your path is wrong.
Well, I just explained what his government had done in terms of the economy. We brought it down to abysmally low levels. We were a fragile 5 economy. We were, our Indian passport had no value. नहीं समझा रहा हूँ मैं तो असलियत बता रहा हूँ. नहीं अब देखिए अब मैं कुछ ज़्यादा बोल दूँ तो उसका गलतफहमी हो सकती है, पर आप भी जानती है कि समझने वाले समझ जाते हैं. अब जो ना समझे उसकी हम कैसे जिम्मेदारी लें? जिसकी काबिलियत ही ना हो समझने की, वो जिम्मेदारी तो हम नहीं ले सकते.
Let me ask you, there is a buzz, and the social media buzz on the India-EU deal was all about how cars will become cheaper. And then that was the expectation on day 1. And on day 2, it was कि यार कुछ नहीं होने वाला. All of them are produced here, so they are not benefiting from that 110% duty coming down to 35%. Can you please explain to those who are looking to buy, let's say, an Audi or a Maserati or a Lamborghini or a Mercedes?
ये जनता की सरकार है, ये आम आदमी की सरकार है. आम आदमी जो गाड़ियां खरीदता है वो आज भारत में बड़े अच्छी क्वालिटी की बनती है. We have very good car production in India. 90% of the cars sold in India are in the range of between 12, 13 to 20 lakh rupees. And all of those cars, it's impossible that any European manufacturer can produce in Europe and come and sell in India, even if we were to make it duty-free. So those cars are protected. No quotas have been given in those cars up to 15,000.
But since you are upgrading everybody's incomes, will they be able to upgrade their cars?
Well, those who are looking for more expensive cars and luxury cars, they would probably get an advantage. And all our consumers will get an ability to start looking for better cars.
When does it come into effect?
As soon as the agreement comes into effect, we'll give a quota in petrol engines, petrol diesel engines, for which will gradually increase from year 1 to year 10. In electric engines, we'll start giving a quota from year 5, which will increase from year 5 to year 14. But even at the end of year 14, we have given a quota of 250,000 cars. In 14th year from now, India will be selling nearly 1.5 crore cars. So it's a small quota. But let me explain to you, this is exactly what the European manufacturers wanted. They recognize that they cannot compete in the low-end cars, below 15 or 20,000 euro. They do wish to bring to India better quality and more expensive cars. But they recognize that with Indian costs of manufacturing, they'll never be able to be competitive. What they really desired, and I've had extensive discussions with their manufacturers, they said all we want is the ability to, let's say, to bring 3 models, 5,000 cars, and test the Indian market. Maybe one of them will work. And then we would like to bring that car to India and manufacture it in India, because after sales service, spare parts, having a network all over India, all of these things can't be done from sitting abroad. You just saw another manufacturer from another country came to India but could not sell because he's not manufacturing. He's trying to bring it from other countries into India. It doesn't work that way. India is such an attractive manufacturing destination today that what they only want this quota is to test market. Once then, because if they set up an investment in manufacturing facility and then it doesn't sell, it's a problem. And some companies have had that problem in the past. This quota will be a win-win for India. This will bring those cars to India at a lower cost. They'll test market. Whatever model works, then they'll start manufacturing in India, both for the Indian market, which is growing by leaps and bounds, and for other countries like Africa, Latin America, other Asian countries, where they are not competitive from Europe, but can become competitive from India. And we already have FTAs with so many other countries and are expanding with so many more, that they can clearly see that India is now going to be a global player in many sectors, and automobile will be one of them. Just to give you context.
Operationalized when? Give us a time frame.
Navika ji, a small context. Even today, India exports $9 billion worth of automobiles, 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers, trucks, all of them put together. We only import 900 million. 9 billion export, 900 million import. Even today, we have such a huge surplus on automobiles.
So when does it get operational? Because there are still some loose ends that you need to tie.
There's no loose end. It's a proper document, but it has to go through a legal scrub. That means lawyers on both ends have to check the T's and commas and dots and full stops. After that, it's just a
90 days
legal
maybe?
thing. Should take about, they expect 120. I've told them I'll do it in 60. So maybe you're right.
90.
90 mein ho jaye. Then they have to get it passed by their parliament, which should take another 2 or 3 months. Should not take long because all the 27 countries have welcomed it. It's a rare deal where 27 EU countries have welcomed. You can imagine how fair and balanced.
opposition party को नहीं मनवा सकते.
मुझे लगता है अगली बार वो इटली जाएं तो शायद वहाँ के लोग उनको ज़्यादा अच्छे तरीके से समझा पाएं.
Well, let me ask you the question everybody is asking, because you also wear a political hat. There is in this winter in the north, there is the temperature soaring in Tamil Nadu. Are you still in the process of tying up an alliance, and do you think NDA really can challenge the DMK Congress alliance, which is even trying to rope in Vijay?
DMK government has earned so much ill will amongst the people of Tamil Nadu. It's a most incompetent and corrupt government. Mr. Udayanidhi Stalin, who's naturally going to become the chief minister, is completely anti-national. His comments are against the very fabric of Tamil culture. He represents an ethos which is totally alien to Tamil heritage traditions. And therefore, this government is on its way out. Even the Congress is having second thoughts whether to be with them or to go with Mr. Vijay. That is the level of anti-incumbency against the DMK. The AIA-DMK-led alliance in Tamil Nadu, of which the BJP is a part, is emerging very strong. The Honorable Prime Minister launched the alliance on 23rd of January at the largest ever rally that Tamil Nadu has ever seen. We are all poised to give to Tamil Nadu a good government with the blessings and under the guidance of Prime Minister Modi and led by Edapadi Palaniswamy ji, who's going to be our face for Tamil Nadu. We are going to provide an excellent, good government, development-oriented government, which will provide both for the welfare of the people and the fast-paced development of the economy of Tamil Nadu. We are a family of like-minded parties. Probably in the next few days, you will see more parties joining us as the
Vijay, your alliance
grows.
with the CBI will deliver Vijay to you?
I don't even think we are talking to him. I think you have some
No, the
bad
CBI
intelligence reporting.
The CBI is talking to him, so I thought maybe.
I think, if I remember correctly, that case was handed over by the Tamil Nadu government.
Yeah.
And they are doing their job. I do not understand how and why everything is sought to be politicized. And where Tamil Nadu government has handed it over to them and they are doing their job, if we start casting aspersions, we are doing a disservice to the nation.
Which is, probably right in a sense, but that's the time, times that we live in where everything is politicized. For example, chapter and verse has been written about the politicization of the Election Commission. And when you are looking for alliance partners, 2 and 2 will be added. The number that you get in the result, we don't know. But will you throw some lights? Has there been any conversation between you, because you're in charge of Tamil Nadu, with Vijay?
Not at all.
Not yet?
Not at all.
Are you possibly wanting to have him on your side?
No.
Will it add value?
I don't think so. We've seen many stars come and go. Sir Kamal Hassan also came. He got a small 1.5 or 2% vote share. You look at the history of Tamil Nadu. Don't mix it up with MGR and Jayalalitha ji. MGR had spent a full 3 or 4 decades in public life before he became Chief Minister. Jayalalitha ji was tutored by MGR for many, many years and was a part of the political fabric of Tamil Nadu before she became Chief Minister. So, this kind of, we've seen this in Bihar, for example. All of you are all about a certain gentleman as if, he's going to become a kingmaker and he's going to become the king himself and he's going to change the politics of Tamil Nadu. You saw the final result. So personally, I think a fan following and fans coming and wanting to have a look at you, तो अमिताभ बच्चन आए तो मैं भी जाऊंगा देखने उनको. Such a charming person, such a great superstar. तो fan following और वोट में कन्वर्ट करने में ऑर्गेनाइजेशन लगती है. वोट में कन्वर्ट करने में व्यक्ति सोचता है कि मेरा भविष्य 5 साल का मैं क्या एक फिल्म को नजर में रखते हुए फिल्म स्टार को देखते हुए करूंगा या पॉलिटिकल एक्यूमेन और गवर्नेंस एबिलिटी देखूंगा.
So when Mr. M.K. Stalin, and you've already declared Udaynidhi Stalin will be the Chief Minister.
I have not declared. He has declared. I think he's been made Deputy Chief Minister, if I'm not mistaken. It's quite obvious that he will be the Chief Minister. And you've heard the kind of anti-Tamil, anti-India comments he has been making.
But they've been stating that, Sanatan is a casteist belief and Hinduism is a casteist belief. It is that they stand against, not the Hindu religion as the North Indians see it. They even see this election as a fight between the Aryans and the Dravidians.
I've seen so many debates on your channel and you have been asking them uncomfortable questions to which they never had any answer. That's completely against the ethos of Tamil Nadu and Tamil culture. the way Mr. Udayanidhi Stalin works, behaves, talks, the people of Tamil Nadu are pretty disgusted with that.
You're not talking about MK Stalin. Is that a deliberate strategy?
Not at all. I mean, we are talking about what we can see before our eyes, that the people of Tamil Nadu have to decide whether they want to vote for Mr. Udayanidhi Stalin or not.
So the casteist charge that is put on your government, on your party, do you think the UGC regulations somehow displayed that? Because it was putting one section of the society against the other?
Well, I think the Supreme Court has passed orders and we respect that.
But the BJP hasn't commented on why those regulations came in the first place.
It's not ours to comment on judgments that the Supreme Court has given.
What are your expectations from the budget, Mr. Piyush Goyal?
A great budget as always.
As always.
Yeah, I think we have Prime Minister Modi and Madam Nirmala Sitharamanji have given excellent budgets over the last many years now. 9th budget.
Yes.
And before that, Arun Jaitley ji gave excellent budgets. So I think what Prime Minister Modi has done is systematically, over 12 years, taken the country to much greater heights, and really proud of the great work that the government has done under his leadership.
If I were to ask you one unfinished agenda that your government still needs to complete, what would that be?
I think every agenda that requires to be addressed has been taken up by this government from time to time. A lot of them are work in progress. Obviously, you can't overnight achieve entire results. But on almost every score, this government has been relentlessly pursuing national good, the welfare of 140 crore Indians, a brighter future for our farmers, for our fishermen, for our small industries, MSMEs, providing opportunities to our young men and women, whether through Startup India, Stand Up India, Make in India, promoting manufacturing in a big way, engaging with modern technology like no other country is, whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it's quantum computing, machine learning. More data centers will come up in India than any other emerging economy or developing economy. I think it's been a very, very comprehensive, focused, and people-driven approach that Prime Minister Modi has followed for 12 years. And the work will continue. We will continue to be the world's fastest growing large economy right until 2047 when we become a developed nation.
Well, in the end, I just have one question. Something that you used to worry about when you were in the opposition was the value of the rupee. Does that worry you anymore?
I think several factors and the global uncertainties that we are currently experiencing have certainly played a role in the value of the rupee. We have seen a lot of money flowing out towards gold as we see the global uncertainties and volatility. My sense is that going forward, we'll see some more stability coming into the system. We've already seen gold and silver prices come down significantly. As more and more rational sense prevails and the world comes to terms with this uncertainty, I believe the rupee will also strengthen.
In the end, since you're a Lok Sabha member of Parliament from Maharashtra, what do you see NCP doing from here after the demise of, untimely demise of Mr. Ajit Pawar?
Well, it's very sad. We have lost a very esteemed colleague. He was doing a good job as Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, very seasoned politician, a people's leader in the state of Maharashtra. I pay my condolences to the family. Bhabhi, Mrs. Sunetra Pawar will be taking over later today as Deputy Chief Minister. I have known her to be a very sensitive person, a very people-oriented person. She's been in the Rajya Sabha as a member of Parliament. I'm quite confident that she will spearhead the NCP over the next few years, supported by all her other colleagues like Mr. Praful Patel and others in their party, and will continue to grow the NDA alliance and the Mahayuti in Maharashtra further in
A
the
merger
years to
between Sharad Pawar faction and this faction?
Personally, I don't think that will happen. My own gut feeling, my sense is that it's irrational to expect that.
Mamata Banerjee says that that could have been the reason the merger was happening, which is why the
Mr.
air accident
Sharad Pawar himself gave the answer to that. It was very insensitive of Mamata Didi. And that is that insensitivity, that new persona that we often see in her, the cruelty that we can witness in West Bengal with the common man, the arrogance of the government, the approach towards public welfare, public good, the antagonism created between center and state by the misguided policies of the state is actually the reason why I think Ms. Mamata Banerjee is also going to get defeated. And
so you'll have
BJP government.
You'll have two governments now in West Bengal and in Tamil Nadu.
And we'll continue to govern Assam and Puducherry.
Well, on that note, it is the 31st of January and it is a landmark day for you. Well, let's hope for the best and see what the predictions really turn out to in reality in the months to come. Thank you very much, Mr. Piyush Goyal, for joining me on Frankly Speaking.
Nice talking to you.